Good morning, everybody. I'm Vicki Matthews, certified life coach, founder of Happiness Republic, and welcome to Sunday Happy Sunday. Today, I want to talk with you about how to get things done when you're feeling overwhelmed because you've got so many things going on. Look at my face. It looks like there's nothing going on, but there is so much going on inside here. I've got so many ideas. I've got lists that are really long in my mind that I keep in there. I've got like ideas of things that I want to do. And sometimes when I think about all the things that are going on in my mind, it becomes overwhelming, like so overwhelming that I'm paralyzed. And overwhelm happens when one of two things is going on. Either you're thinking about all of the little things that you have to do and there's too many things for you to do because you're trying to do all those things at once. You will start to feel overwhelmed if you try to do all those things at once. On another side, you can become completely overwhelmed when you have something to do and it seems really big, and you're like trying to eat the whole elephant all at once. You know how they say, what's the best way to eat an elephant? And it's like one bite at a time. But when you try to eat an elephant in one bite, you become totally overwhelmed. And so for me, overwhelm is like, I'm really good at breaking things down into smaller pieces. And so I actually become overwhelmed when I start to think about all of the pieces, all of the things that I've got to do. And I used to sort of keep all that stuff in my mind. Like I used to keep lists in my head, and that was really exciting, and it worked because I could just sort of do a little this and do a little that and do a little this and do a little that and get things done in a really crazy way. But since I've started a business, it is just impossible for me to manage all of the things that I've got to do while keeping it all up here in my mind. And so I needed to somehow get organized so that I could actually start to get things done. But the problem for me, guys, is that I'm not like a big planner. I'm not big into planning. And so like if it was going to require that I like take out Excel and start like creating spreadsheets for things that I've got to do, like I'm not inclined to do that because it's not really my style. Like I like it when things are really, really simple and to the point. And so I had to come up with something that I could do that would help me stay organized and help me get things done. But in the end, I still wanted to feel good. And so I've come up with something that I find is really, really simple way for me to get things done when I've got a lot going on and there's a lot going on in my mind. And so the very first thing, and this stuff's really simple, guys, because that's how I do. The very first thing is take that list that's in your mind and write it down. So get a journal, guys. If you don't have a journal, get a journal. Write every single time an idea comes to your mind, a dream, like a to-do task. Write it down like in your journal and make that list. And so for me, I'm like pen to paper. I have to write it down on a piece of paper. Like it's not good enough for me to just put a reminder in my phone or to have like some kind of Google Calendar list. That doesn't really work for me. There's something about, and I'm pretty sure I read this somewhere, like there's something about pen in hand on paper. And it's because if you're like me, and not everybody is like me, but I type really fast. And so I could probably type as quickly as I can think. And the thing about writing is when you write it down, your mind slows down a little bit because you write slower than you type typically these days. And so if you're a typer, try writing it down so that it becomes more real, sticks in your mind better, and like you have some time to think about what you're really writing down. So that's number one. The first thing, just make a list of everything that you've got going on up here in your mind. Okay. The second thing to do was choose one thing. Choose one thing from that list and start doing it. And so, like, no distractions, okay? So if it's something from your personal life, or uh, something related to your business, maybe one item on your list is like, you're like, oh, I need to get what do you need? I need to send an email to my mailing list. Well, write that one thing down on a separate piece of paper, that's separate from the list that you've got in your journal. Write it down on one single separate piece of paper, that one thing that you're going to do, and focus on it. No distractions. That means turn off your computer, turn your cell phone to airplane mode, all those little notifications along the top of your computer screen, like close down all of your tabs and get down to doing that one task. So for me, I mean, it's 2017. I love the environment. I still use paper, but for this part, I actually have like a little blue board that I use. And like you can just write down your one task. That's backward, I think, for you. It says write newsletter copy. And it's like the one thing that I'm gonna do. And I have it sitting there beside me on my laptop, or on my desk beside my laptop, and there's nothing else around. Nothing else that's distracting. Just trying to focus on this one task. And so I know what some of you are probably saying, and you're probably saying to yourself, Vicky, I have a million things to do. Like, I can't just focus on one task. I'm gonna have to learn to multitask. And you know what? Multitasking is just not effective. In reality, you can only do one thing at once. And so when you're multitasking, you're really just spreading yourself out among a whole bunch of different things at one time. So you're doing a little bit of this, and then you're doing a little bit of this, and then you're doing a little bit of this. And it's not every time, but a lot of the time you're going to find that when you do a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, then you end up with having a little bit of something done from everywhere, but nothing's complete. And I find that it's just better and more productive, and I'm way more successful when I focus on one thing and get that one thing done, and then I can move on to another thing and get that thing done, instead of having a whole bunch of things that I've started but are not complete. And so those are the two things that I do. And if I don't, I got so many things going on in my mind, and if I don't make that list, when I get down to doing something, I'm constantly going to be thinking about my list. So I'll start working on something, and then I'll think about something else that I'm working on my, or that I've got going on in my head on my list. And then I'll get distracted. And then I go on to YouTube, and then I go onto Facebook, and then I go and I've got to research this other thing for this other thing. And then it was like, oh, somebody sent me a link to a video, and then I'm going to go and look at that video. And all of a sudden 2 hours is gone and I haven't done anything. So it's, the number one thing that works for me is those two things. And now you can probably go on to Google right now and look for techniques on how to get things done. And you can find this probably a 10-step list on how to get things done. And it's I like to just get down to the root of it. What is really going to help me right now? 10 steps to figure out how to get things done is too much, because I have things to do. So the two things that I do: make your list, write it down, make it real. If you're like me, you've got to write it pen to paper. But if you're not like me, go ahead and make a electronic list. Do it on your cell phone, do it on your computer, do it wherever, but make that list. And every time you get an idea, write the idea on your list. Then the next thing is set aside time for yourself and choose one thing from that list, and just do it with no distractions. And so that's what I do, and that totally works for me. And it is something that allows me to really think about what I want to do in the first place, actually get things done, and then at the end, Like when I cross off, when I go into my journal and I cross something off that I achieved on the list, like that motion of I freaking love crossing items off lists. So it's like I get around to doing the things that I need to do and I feel really good about it. So that's my technique. Super duper simple. I encourage you guys, like, if you've got things that you want to do, make a list of all the things that you want to do and just focus on doing one thing at a time. Try and put multitasking out of your mind because it's just not as effective. And so that's it. What challenges do you guys have when it comes to getting things done when you're feeling overwhelmed because there's so many things going on? And how have you overcome those challenges? Put your comments below. I can't wait to hear from you guys. And you know what? You guys, you might be asking like, hey, oh, how the heck do I even know what to put on my list? Like, I don't even know what I want to do. Well, you're in luck because next week, Monday, not tomorrow, but next week, Monday, inside my private Facebook group, Lips, Lyps, I'm going to be going live every single day for 5 days, Monday through Friday, at 8 p.m. And I'm going to show you how I create my 1 week plan. And within that 1 week plan are those items that you're going to want to write down on your list. So you're going to want to tune into that. If you're having trouble, like if you've got lots of ideas going on in your mind, but they are not happening in real life, you're not actually doing them, then you're going to want to tune in to, you're going to want to join Lips and tune in next Monday at 8 o'clock where I'm going live and you can ask me as many questions as you want. And I'm going to show you how I make my 1 week plan. And so that is really it for today's episode. If you want to continue this conversation, join Lips right now because I am going to continue this conversation in that group, Lips, Lyps. If you are just a fan of this sort of happiness stuff, goal setting stuff, like my Facebook page, Happiness for Public, or you can follow me on Instagram. I'm Happiness Vicky. And you can also check me out on YouTube. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Happiness for Public, or just visit my website, happinessrepub.com. That's me. So I think that's it for today, guys. I hope you're having a Sunday. Happy Sunday. I'll talk to you later. Bye.